From the New England School of Communications at Husson University, this is the Maine Report, the way news should be.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Maine sports scene. I'm Ethan Snow. High school sports in Maine is an integral part of education for the kids that play and support them. When the COVID-19 pandemic began, so did a pause on nearly every aspect of our everyday lives. Sports at all levels were included in that pause. Since then, high school sports in the state has slowly rebounded to a near pre-pandemic state. Joining me now is WHOU broadcast coordinator for the Bangor area, Dale Duff. Thank you for joining us today.
Great to be here, Ethan.
So Dale, first before we really jump into the topic, you want to explain real quick what your role with WHOU is?
Yeah, basically we're a streaming service, video streaming service, and we live stream games, subscription-based games, and the one thing the pandemic did with limiting of the crowd and all of that, every school in the state, I dare say every school in the country now has to have some sort of streaming service. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. Most every school with all of their sports wants some type of streaming service. So that's what we provide.
So when the first going with that, so when the pandemic first started and everything was shut down and all sports shut down, there was nothing going on, what did that do with you and the programming that you were supposed to put on? Because you had the entire spring of 2020 planned out.
Right.
And so how did that affect your plans from your companies?
It changed everything. The first semester, or the first spring, if you will, of the pandemic, we were planning to do springtime sports. All of those sports, if you remember, baseball, softball, they all got canceled. There was no spring season. So we took the best of tournament basketball games and turned those into remember when games and that sort of thing. And then we would do video streaming shows, talking to athletic directors and the MPA people. Hey, when do you think you're going to play? When do you think we're going to play again? Which nobody had an answer to. And then in the fall of last year, when there was some play, just limited crowds, that's when streaming really kicked in. And what happened was, once you provided varsity sport streaming coverage, then parents of JV teams, freshman teams, if they had them, they would like to have that streamed as well too. So it just, every day in 3 or 4 different locations, we had crews either offering video-only services or what we call a full broadcast, where it's a video plus play-by-play and that sort of thing. So it's exponentially grown over the last year or so.
So I want to go back to last fall. When sports started to make their comeback at the high school level with the Maine Principals Association, obviously it's part of your job as being the coordinator. You have to work with the coaches, athletic directors especially.
Yeah.
How for a lot of the area high schools, and there's quite a few that you had to cover with Herman, John Bapps, and Bangor just being 3 examples. When you first approached ADs about trying to get as many games out as you could, did they have any sort of guidelines that were added on that weren't part of the MPA guidelines that came out?
Well, I wouldn't say guidelines. They were appreciative of getting any kind of streaming on. If you could do varsity, that was great. If you could do the JV game that was played either before or after the varsity game, they loved it. I mean, what it was doing was keeping parents off of their backs, because no, you can't come to the game. That's what the CDC says. That's what the MPA says. But you can watch your sons and daughters play for streaming. And so it became one of those things that was just a necessary thing. Now, what's happened since all of that is all of the issues of COVID and quarantining, and two teams might play tonight at 7 o'clock, but one team has had to quarantine, or enough of them have had to quarantine, so that game gets rescheduled, and sometimes there are not enough bus drivers to get there for a 4 o'clock game, so we're now going to play that game at 5 o'clock. And so for me, trying to coordinate everything, it's a nightmare. I mean, but it's a good nightmare. I'm happy to help out, and it's something that I want to do and that we want to do. These are times never seen before with all of this.
So let's fast forward to not only with last spring and this fall, kind of being similar in the fact that full schedules for teams returned, a full playoff, and with state championships returned. What was that like for you, for your organization, to finally have a little bit more of a normalcy after the winter season was a little bit funky as it was?
50 people in a gym or a hockey rink, and oftentimes I was number 49 doing the play-by-play, and the photographer that was helping stream, he or she was number 50. So we were 49 and 50 out of 50 people that could be in the gym, and obviously this fall it has loosened up a little bit where more people can be there, but you're still running into, if we were doing 15 events during the course of a week, Monday through Saturday, I would dare say 7 or 8 of those were either changed dates, changed times, changed locations. So again, it's a coordination thing. It's nobody's fault. It just happens, and you just have to be ready to roll with the punches.
All right. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we will look ahead to the winter season and what is being done to prepare for athletics' return to indoors. Stay tuned.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Welcome back to the Maine sports scene. Today we are talking about the current state of high school sports and how streaming has made it an integral part of the high school sports experience. My guest today is Dale Duff. Dale, we just got done talking about how streaming during all the major pandemic. And then we started to touch in a little bit of how when the guidelines were dropped and it became returned to a little bit more normalcy. This fall we saw a full competition, full schedules, and full state championships. Of course, soccer state championships just concluding this past weekend. Football championships are coming right up. What has it been like? What has it been like to be able to have this return?
Yeah, I have to say this. It was just exactly what I needed as a broadcaster. I have to say, in a year ago and even last winter when only 50 people, you go into a gym to call a basketball game or a hockey rink to do a hockey game, and it's Deadsville. It's the same 50 people that you see, and there's no atmosphere. And this fall, with soccer and football, to hear a band, a high school band, play the national anthem, and at halftime, to hear the crowd, to talk to people before and after the game, it's just so much more, gives you a sense of normalcy. So, I mean, as a broadcaster, it fires me up, you know, you know, all of a sudden now I'm not talking in an empty gym or an empty ice arena, and I know it makes for a better broadcast. I just know it does.
So, in saying that, we're going to look ahead to the winter season, where, of course, it's expected as of right now, with the NPA bulletin just coming out within the last week or so, it is expected a full schedule is expected. And as of right now, of course, the situation remains to be fluid. But as of right now, there is expected to be a tournament of some sorts become February and into March. But something that's being left up to the school districts, and it's been this way for a while now, is the spectators. Now, you just mentioned the energy, especially at basketball games in Maine, where high school basketball is king in the state of Maine. If you've heard anything, what has it been for some of the area schools? What are some of the spectator policies they are looking to develop?
Yeah, I mean, I have heard all kinds of them. I know west of Bangor, the old what they call the Penquist League, their officials are gathering, school officials are gathering. I've heard talk of no crowd, you know, not having anybody in the gym again. I've heard that one of the possibilities is only the home crowd. So that, and I don't know how you manage that, but maybe there is a way. But I've heard that. And then I've also heard that they're going to allow, you know, as many as the gym holds. I've heard probably with masks, maybe without, for the fans. I don't think anybody knows. You're right, though. The MPA has set dates for the February basketball tournament at the Cross Center in Bangor and in Augusta and down in Portland. They have set dates for the hockey playoffs. So I think it's everybody's intent to try to get a season in, but I think everybody will tell you that that's the plan as of today. We don't know what tomorrow is going to be like. And I will say, I know we've had it tough in the sense of coordinating and all, but it's nothing compared to what school officials, and in our case that we deal with a lot of the athletic directors, they've had it a lot worse even than we have, not knowing. I mean, you've had games change because they don't have enough bus drivers. One team can't get to the field at the time that they're supposed to because they don't have enough bus drivers. The weather has been an issue. Sometimes there aren't enough officials. I've seen a lot of soccer games officiated by one official. So there's all of these things, but I think everybody's trying to do whatever they can to give everybody a full high school athletic experience, and you just have to be willing to be able to shift and change things on the fly.
All right. Dale, thank you very much. That wraps up this edition of the Maine Sports Scene. I'd like to say thank you to my guest, Dale Duff. I'm Ethan Snow, and thank you for watching.